Steve, do you want to sit up here at the table?
We can make room, Steve.
Oh, there she is.
Wow, I just realized
Awesome.
we have Steve.
Switch down.
Good morning, everyone.
Good.
Pull up
Yep.
a chair for Amy.
Yeah.
No,
now it's
just
getting
slide down.
There you go. Spotlight.
What's what?
Oh,
Droll down, I can keep them under the table.
Oh, I'm really thrown off.
Sorry, Steve, let me get all my.
Did you have a happy
worries.
birthday,
Wow.
Steve?
Wasn't sure.
Okay.
That's why I'm here.
Oh, it's not looking on the other side.
That's good. We're happy to see you.
Oh, there it goes.
Am I gonna be? Let me slide.
Oh,
Let me
thank
slide.
you.
You got ready when you are, right?
Right. With that, let's call the meeting to order here, 7:31. Thank you, everyone, for being here bright and early. We appreciate it. We'll start, well, with the introduction of guests. We have Steve Meyer with Harris Beach. Thanks for driving down this morning, Steve. And you've met everybody here. You were here the
Yeah.
last couple of meetings, so we're all friends.
Great.
Keep going.
All right. The first item up would be an executive session if we need it today. And
We do.
we do.
There's nobody here. We can do it first. Discuss the current litigation with the town of Milo.
Okay, so I'd ask for a motion to enter executive session for that specific purpose.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jesse. Is there a second? Amy? Okay.
patience.
frustrating.
I couldn't do it.
It's
I couldn't do it
frustrating.
either. I could
Sounds
not
like you
do it.
could.
I enjoy the challenge.
Do you
but-
really?
Yeah. I don't get frustrated like
You too. You too. You know, you guys are.
Stay level.
Yeah.
Let's go with Mars and Venus, Amy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's something.
That's funny.
Just saying.
There is a game. You know.
Just
We
saying.
have that game.
Just saying.
I prefer direct communication is how I
Yes.
say it, right?
I
I like
do.
to say words, I just
All
prefer
right.
direct
We'll need a motion
communication.
for
I
your
do
life.
too.
We're
Yep.
You
back,
guys have a beautiful
back
day.
live. Bye,
You
Janice.
too.
Thanks.
See ya.
See you, Janice, thank you.
So I'd ask for a motion to open back, or to enter open
Okay, so
session.
this up.
Yes, please.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Jesse, okay, we're back in open session with no specific action being taken in executive session. Move on the agenda to the review and approval of our minutes from our March meeting, and they're in the green paper in your packet. Does anybody have any comments or questions on the minutes? Okay, I'd
Ryan wants to join the Zoom.
ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Amy, is there a second?
Steve.
Steve, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. Do we have any changes in the agenda? Anything to add or delete later on?
I think we're good.
Okay, then I'll turn it over to Doreen for the finance report.
I have, check number 6841 to 6871 and E235 to E239, which includes the payroll, for a total of $64,294.71. And I have check number 1298 from the revolving loan fund for $1,137.87.
So a comment in the management report that you're working on bids for the
Yes.
elevator project, so
Yep.
that'll be forthcoming. March was a good month financially, and there was the land sale piece was the bid, the option, right?
Yeah. So there's the land sale part, piece in there is the purchase option that Canpack paid. We received the money for the 10 additional acres at Fuca Business Park.
How many years have you been working on that?
4 or 5?
Congratulations. Good job,
sale.
Steve.
Quick sale. Fast moving projects.
Hey, you did it. That is determination, perseverance.
We got it.
It ties up some of the last remaining land we have there, but what better way to have it as one of the larger employers and somebody hoping that they will move forward with an
Yeah.
expansion project here at some
Hoping
point.
that there's a place where their people, their workers can live.
Yeah, that's a big win, and good job staying at the table. I know through many different partners on their end. It's-
Yeah, they sold once, so yeah.
yeah. Anything else to share on the finance report?
I don't have.
Anything standing out on the loan stuff? Okay. Okay, then I'd ask for a motion to approve the finance, or accept the finance report and approve paying those specific checks.
So moved.
Steve, all right. Marisa, is that a
Grace
second?
says a second, yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. How about the management reports, the status reports?
I don't have any updates.
Just to, Mike's is blank, and had a fairly significant life event happen in the time between the last meeting and now, so it's
Yeah.
a free pass.
So the past 2 weeks I've been on New York paid family leave for paternity, and I welcomed a second son on April 10th. So
Congratulations.
Lucas Steven, doing really well. And middle name is
You guys
unfortunately
did that.
blew up his head a little bit. So.
I haven't brought it up, but I did notice. They just spelled the same way. That's,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I knew he was itching to get something out. So.
the fact you brought it up makes it even better.
Guess Ryan was taken.
Yeah.
Steve's a
It
good
was,
name, I'm not gonna
so
lie.
my wife's Stephanie, so it's Steven with a PH.
Hey, that's my middle name, Stephen with a PH.
Aw.
Boy.
There
I'll let Steve think what he
So
wants.
I'll take
However
that.
you feel
I'll take
comfortable
the
with
Steve,
it.
am I
win.
allowed
It's,
to, am I allowed to
I'll
use that
take
now?
the
Like,
win, yeah.
I can allow myself to think that was my, okay.
Yeah.
You gotta deflate his, Steve said, you know, just a little.
Anything that
Steve, it's all.
knocks him down a notch.
It's all.
Good luck with that.
Well, congratulations
Congrats.
to the LaFerry family.
Thank you, thank you. So, yeah, I will have the management report updated for the previous weeks and before leave for May's board meeting, so yeah.
Two
Fully
ex-
up to date on what we've been doing.
Congrats, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let us know when we can have a visit.
Yeah, anytime. So, both mom and baby are doing really well. To tell mom to sit down and relax every once in a while. She's still trying to do it all.
Unless there's questions, I don't really have, I kept you long enough already, but.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for any of the team on the meetings or management reports? I like seeing all the progress on the initiative, the Yates program, I'll say it out loud, but the lead initiative, I think that could be really cool.
Leadership.
Yeah. It's like
It's,
seeing where that goes. I look forward to seeing where it goes.
Making some pretty good progress on it.
Yeah, good deal. All right, so with that, we're gonna move on to our action items, and item one here are bank signers. So what do we have here, Doreen?
Well, it's usually our officers plus Steve and Mike, and we just need two of that list. Officers, Ryan, Steve, Janice, Jesse.
Because our officer positions changed, we need to have a resolution then in the
Yes.
minutes to
Yes.
take to the different banks?
Correct.
Is that? So just to clarify, the authorization will say who each of the officers are?
Yes.
And Steve and Mike are the authorized signers?
Yes, two of any.
Two of any of the
Yeah.
officers and Mike and Steve. Okay. All right, which is what we've been doing for a number of years. I have the accounts at least 3 different places, so they all ask for this kind of thing to update signature cards from time to time. So, I guess I'd ask for a motion to approve the bank signers as stated.
So moved.
Amy, is there a second?
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Jesse beat you to it. Nice.
Nice.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. On the leases.
How we do them, they're in the board packet, I could probably do with one approval.
Yeah, no, I'd like to do it that way.
Okay,
yeah.
if there's any, just like going over, if there's any questions, we're happy to address them, if not, they're all in line with current leases at the park. Most of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of them are renewals, one's new. The acupuncture is new, but the rest are renewals.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Steve on the lease agreements, lease rates?
I move to approve the leases.
Thank you, Amy. Is there a second?
Steve?
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's carried. Then on to the Finger Lakes Railway authorizing resolution. And so Steve or Steve?
I can go through it. I will note we have Veronica Fields on the Zoom, who's representing Finger Lakes Railway.
Good morning, Veronica. Thanks for joining us, and sorry to hold you up in the beginning while we had our executive session discussion.
No problem. Thank you for having us today and having us on your agenda. I appreciate it.
So a couple months ago, we brought forward a initial resolution for Finger Lakes Railway as they submitted an application to renew their 10-year pilot. At the time, we didn't have the final numbers for projected incentives finalized as we were still negotiating. It's been a several month-long process as we've been negotiating with 4 other counties where the railroad passes through. The initial resolution authorized us to hold a public hearing. We finalized those negotiations and the proposed incentives prior to the public hearings. We held the public hearings on Thursday, April 3rd. Had to host one in each of the townships that the railway passes through. So we had four public hearings, 0 total attendees at those meetings, and received no comments on the proposed incentives or project at the public hearings. So what you have in front of you here is an outline of the final numbers for the project. It's not a standard pilot, so it's still a 10-year pilot, but instead of decreasing the abatements by 10% each year, the pilot payment is a percentage of their freight revenue each year. So it's 3.5% of the freight revenue, and then that's split over the 5 counties that negotiated together. Gates County specific, we're looking at the railway putting a $7,884,204 capital investment over 10 years. That's upgrading track, improving crossings, variety of activities over the 10 years. They will retain 7 jobs within, those jobs reside in Yates County, and then there will be an additional 9 indirect and induced jobs created. We calculated that using our Jobs EQ database. So over the 10 years, the company will be paying just over $5,306,000 in total wages for their retained employees in Yates County and the indirect induced jobs to be created. That, along with their pilot payments of $733,250. The total company or economic benefit is $14,664,522. The project is projected to save the company $232,924 using property tax abatements, which is actually, they're paying a little bit more in property tax, but they're getting significant sales tax savings to help reduce the cost of those capital investments over the 10 years. So when looking at the company investment to community investment ratio, it's a 60-to-1 investment.
Yeah, just for clarification, again, the property tax abatement calculation is challenging, because if they don't get valued the same way a typical property would. So we're using current values on that. It's not made up, but it's using a formula that isn't applied to actually rails, because if the pilot wasn't in place, they'd have to do a rail ceiling calculation, which brings in all sorts of different formulas all over the place, and likely would produce significantly higher valuations than what is currently on the track. So we use what we had available to us to come up with that number.
Is there any kind of mechanisms to check that they actually make their $7.8 million investments over the 10 years?
Yes, so there'll be annual audited financials submitted.
Okay.
For each county, to us, to the attorneys.
They do that now as
Yep.
well.
Okay. That's what it is.
Yep. Yeah, and there was a lot of discussion on that throughout the negotiation process, just to make sure that everything's
Yeah,
as stated.
They do their part.
Yep.
In our documents, there's several called material commitments. One of them is the capital expenditure, and then the other one will be the job retention and or creation figures. And then every year, along with the submission of their ST 340, which is needed by, I think, February 15th, for their sales tax reporting, they would also report their capital expenditures for that prior year, which would drive the administrative fee that each IDA would be receiving anyways.
Great.
And documented further in the Paris reporting, the information provided, right? Doesn't that, that would go into the Paris reports, which is something we kind of breezed over earlier on during the management reports, that they were submitted on time and is a big staff undertaking. So kudos to all you guys for getting those submitted. That's a key
Congrats.
requirement of the IDA.
Again.
So
Yeah.
well done, all you guys. All right, so back to this, Mike, thank you for the summary. The resolution was shared prior and by email. If anybody has any comments or questions on the language in the resolution, or
Yeah, the public hearing minutes are done. I didn't send them to the board as there were no comments, but Steve has them to include in the resolutions and the final documentation.
So this would be a.
This will be a roll call vote for the resolution, and this is the final
Yep.
resolution, final time we'll be acting on here. So with that, I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Amy, is there a second? Jared. Jared, thank you. And then Doreen will take us around the roll call.
Okay, Ryan,
Yes?
Janice, Marissa,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Okay, passes. Thank you. Veronica, do you have anything to add before we move on the agenda?
I would just say, thank you. This does help us with the ongoing maintenance and the ongoing upgrades that Finger Lakes Railway is making, which are significant investments. So thank you for, taking the time to review the application to approve it unanimously.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for your continued involvement in Yates County. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Veronica.
All right, so now we'll move on to the fourth item here, which is NY Benton 1 authorizing resolution. So, who wants to take us through that one?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but Steve can help out here too. So New York Benton 1 was developed, the project was developed by Delaware River Solar.
Yep.
They have sold the project to
Generate capital.
Thank you. Been off for too long. Generate Capital. Project's still the same. It just, the ownership has changed, so we need to approve. Our annual reporting requirements actually caught this. The Delaware River did not notify the sale, didn't notify the IDA of the sale. So when we weren't receiving the information back from the company, I said, hey Steve, what's going on here? Any help you can provide to get the information we need? And he reached out to Delaware River and they said that they had sold it to Generate Capital. That kicked off this whole process to make sure that we have the right approvals in place to continue offering the incentives to Generate Capital. We've done this for, I think, every solar project that we've done.
Standard
So this is-
operating procedure for the solar.
Yeah.
Change hands.
And
for-
you have everything you need, right, Steve? They sent the.
Yep, so once,
Operational
assuming the board approves it,
organization.
yeah, I'll reach back out to their council, we'll get the assignment executed and updated insurance and all that.
Yeah, so pretty straightforward, no new incentives or anything today for this.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you. Is there a
You're
second?
an impatient board member right here.
Yes, I appreciate that.
I'll second.
Seconded by Jesse. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go for a roll call.
Ryan,
Yes?
Marissa,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Jared.
Yep.
All right, thank you. That passes.
Real quick, you brought up the Paris reports. The summary of those, by the way, there's 41 current pilots that we're tracking. Those pilots made $1,793,329 in pilot payments in 2024. And the net employment change was 605. So there's now 605 more employees than there were pre-project level for those projects. That number's, it's actually probably less than that because that's based off New York State, which uses a 35-hour work week. So the number's probably more around 550 or something like that, but it's still a pretty significant increase.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Great job.
Yeah.
Excellent job.
Thanks for sharing that. Our next scheduled meeting is May 28th. Do you have,
We had brought up, we're still trying, we have not given up. We're almost halfway through the year by the time we get this thing to go. We have not given up on we can't even call it an annual meeting. A
Presentation.
yearly presentation
a
at this
one-off
point.
meeting?
Or semi-year, half-year presentation. If you could look, if you don't have it in front of you, we're thinking May 30th, it's a Friday, but that's you know, if that would work for people, if they're a little creative on what we call it, but that's when we think we could host one, that's on our calendars anyways.
What time are you?
It'd be
doing?
probably, I think in the past we've tried for like 3 o'clock.
And what is this for?
Yeah, it's generally to report on what we have done for the previous year.
And where do you hold this?
That has been we
Like
circulated.
Usually a
Seasons or something
business
like
that
that?
we've assisted with somewhere in the county,
gotcha.
just to help support.
So we're still tracking down where this one will ultimately be, but because a Friday could make it a little bit more challenging for.
If you do the Top Golf, they do have conference. Write that off.
So it used to be every year, an annual meeting, and it was a presentation to the community on all the wins, and they'll put together statistics on all the loans and all the project activity, the jobs, and do that over time. So
It won't be any new information for the board, it's more presenting to the public what the board sees on a monthly basis.
networking and PR value for the organization, and kind of got derailed with COVID and hasn't come back on yet.
A date and time, 3 o'clock works for me.
It's not an actual meeting
Yeah.
unless we get a quorum to show up, in which case we have to call it a meeting. But,
Oh,
which is okay, I mean,
Okay.
it's fine.
Just have to put out a notice.
Put out a notice.
Yeah.
If I could be there, I will. May is
Okay.
just a
Right, yep, September
silly
9th.
month.
That's the Friday of the Memorial Day week.
Yeah, that too.
Oof.
Monday's Memorial Day,
Monday's
and that's the
Memorial Day.
Friday.
Friday after.
Friday after.
Friday after,
Oh,
not the
okay,
Friday
okay,
before.
I thought it was a Friday going out.
No,
No, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
Friday
so.
before, it's just like another holiday.
Yeah.
It's a 4-day weekend.
So you guys will confirm a
We'll
venue?
confirm a
Okay.
venue, that, yep, and we'll work with that date.
Okay. All right, with that, is there any other business? Then that's for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Amy.